Hi, welcome back to Box to Lights and welcome to this Star Trek Frontiers demonstration. Hopefully this will be a little bit of a tutorial for you. I'm going to play the solitaire version and we're going to play through the opening walkthrough. And then at the end I'm going to walk you through an assault of a ball cube, which is the equivalent of what was a city in Mage Knight, because this is a readaptation of Lara Tvatov's Mage Knight board game with a Star Trek theme. There are a few rule differences between Star Trek Frontiers and the Mage Knight board game. Predominantly, if you've played Mage Knight, you're going to take to this really easily and really quickly. If anything, the rules have been simplified, but we'll talk about those as we go along. So I've set up the solo version. We've removed tiles 9, 10 and 11 for the walkthrough. And if you're playing solitaire, there's also these 4 cards. We call these are the equivalent of what were spells and artifacts in Mage Knight. These are called the Undiscovered. They're the powerful effects that you can find as you explore the universe. So we're taking out Inner Light, Telepathy, Energy Flow and Data Virus. Those are the 4 simple effects, if you like. The other thing we've done is we've stacked the basic cards, right? We've got 3 core cards, 2 random and 1 from the random 4 that contain what's the equivalent of cities. So we've got 1 of those, 2 of the other core tiles, and then the rest are stacked 1 to 8. 2 of those are already in play. These are tiles 1 and 2. And we'll look at some of the features of these as we get in. This is our starting tile. There's asteroid belts here that define the edge of the explorable universe, if you like, or galaxy. And here is where we begin the game on what's called the wormhole. I'm going to take on the role of Jean-Luc Picard, captain of the Enterprise D, the ship you see here. There's 3 other playable characters or captains. We've got Martok on the IKS, Negvar, and then Cisco of the USS Defiant, and then finally the Duras sisters, captains of the D12 Bird of Prey, which I'm using as the dummy player. Okay, here's their respective ship tokens, which we won't need for this demonstration. If you're familiar with Mage Knight, then the setup's going to look familiar to you. I'm going to run through some of the components as we play. If you're new to the game, then things will start emerging as we play. Basically, we're taking on the role of this captain of the Enterprise. We're going to explore this universe, and in first reconnaissance, our job is to find that first ball cube. Once we find that, the game's over. Okay, we can't die in the game, but we've only got 4 rounds in which to complete our task. Okay, 4 rounds is going to be roughly 20 turns, something like that. And then we're going to score points based on how successful we've been, how quickly we've found that ball cube tile. Now I do have to just rearrange the explorable universe here, but it does give me an opportunity to show you how to set this thing up. The numbers need to be in the same orientation as the star here. Right? So this number here should line up with this star here and this number here. All right? So they're going to be in this orientation. And then we've got stars and circles. So they need to be placed in such a way that stars and circle line up. Okay, so they're going to look something like this for the start of the game. And we're going to be exploring out in a triangle in this direction. So we start here on the wormhole. We draw ourselves 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is my 16 card character deck. There's 1 card that's unique to my character, Picard. And we'll see that when it comes out. If it hasn't come out already, no. And now we get to choose one of these tactics. There's 6 tactics to choose from, and this kind of gives you some kind of bonus for the round, and there's a big number on here that determines round order. So I'm going to take, I think, let's take number 5, which is called Fortune. It says, when I take this card, immediately draw 2 cards. So I've got a hand now of 7 cards. All right, I was hoping for a little bit more movement. I want to try and develop as quickly as I can as the game begins. Now we also draw a tactic for the dummy player. And this will just be done randomly. And what's interesting is these two tactics that are going to be set aside, the one I chose and the one Dummy chooses, are going to be unavailable in the next round. Okay, the effects here doesn't take effect for Dummy, it's just a number that's significant. Whoever has the lowest number is going to go first. We'll put those to one side. So Dummy's going to go first, and on Dummy's turn, all we do, this is Dummy's deck, Dummy's character card, that's all they need. And all this is going to do is act like a timer for us. We're just going to draw 3 cards every turn, 1, 2, 3. And the final card, if it matches a colour of one of these 2 data crystals down here, so it starts with a blue and a yellow. This is a blue card, it matches one of these. How many of this colour do we have on his card? Just 1. We draw 1 extra card and that's it, we stop, irrespective of the colour. Okay, and remember there's 16 cards here. As we play through round by round, we're going to get an additional card in here. I'll show you that at the end of the round. This is just a timer. Okay, so if Dummy player gets a turn and this deck's empty, he'll declare end of round, we'll get 1 more turn, and then that ends the round. There's a couple more points of setup I'd like to pick out. Rolling these dice. Okay, in Mage Knight we had a day-night card, a day-night board that you flipped over. We don't in Frontiers. It's a single card, there's no changing between day and night. Every round behaves the same. This is called the core. You have 2 dice plus a number of players. We're playing solitaire, so you roll at the start of the round. Okay, there's some different colours on here and we'll explain these as we go on. But the basic colours in Frontiers are gold, red and blue. Just 3 basic colours. Now at least half of these need to be of those basic colours. We've got 2 that aren't. We've got white and purple. These are like wild cards, but I'll show you that. We're going to re-roll these until we get at least 1 more basic. Okay, we've got a blue and a purple, excellent. So there's our 2 basic, and there's one of our special data colours. A couple of other things to show you aside from our deck. This is our starting stats, a set of skills that we can earn as we go along, and this is a vacancy for a crew member that we can potentially employ as part of our crew. We've got a massive crew, but these are kind of people who are individuals that stand out with special skills. So at the start of the game, you've got 1 spot to recruit 1 crew member. And then on this token here, these are called level tokens. It shows us our hand limit. So we got a hand limit of 5, hence why I drew 5 cards. And here, my defense value. I've got a defense value of 2. And the 1 to 2 here just says that I'm staying at this level while I'm at levels 1 and 2. These are my stats. Okay? As we develop and we earn more experience in the game, our level can go up and our stats can go up too. And what you'll notice is every time we go up a level, we'll get another command token, another slot to recruit a crew member. Next, we need to just have a look at the terrain over here and understand the different things that we see in our environment. And there's a couple of things we need to place on the map for setup. The most immediate features are perhaps this sun that you see here and these nebulae that you see here. Nebulae basically slow you down. Okay, so it's going to cost us 1 extra movement point, I'll show you this shortly, to move through these nebulae than what it was these open space. I can't move through these asteroid belts, they're out of bounds. And stars and planets, like this sun here, so the sun's a star, you can't stop in these. You can move through them, it costs 2 more than the regular movement to move through these, but you can't end your turn here, you can't end your movement here. The other things we see are these outposts. There's 2 outposts here. These are the equivalent of what were villages in Mage Knight. These are places where you can repair and heal or spend your diplomacy to recruit new crew members. These are the 2 spots we see here. These are dry docks. These are the equivalent of what were magical glades in Mage Knight. Here you can heal, and if you begin your turn in one of these dry docks, then you get 1 of these white crystals, or data tokens perhaps I should call them, and these act as wildcards if you like. Data tokens are things that you use on the turn that you're on. Data crystals are things that you can store in your ship for later turns. Finally, we have 2 enemies located on the map. These were the equivalent of what were rampaging orcs in Mage Knight. These are the Romulan warbirds. So we're going to take these. There's stacks of tokens. I'll show you these shortly. I'm going to place one in each location where there's a warbird and turn them face up. These are always face up. Okay, and we'll look at these when we come to encounter them and what they do, and that will be determined by our hand of cards. Quickly though, the number at the bottom you see here, the 2 3s, that gives us experience. Experience is the equivalent of what was fame in Mage Knight, and experience goes up and allows us to level up. Here is the diplomacy track. We can have positive diplomacy or negative diplomacy, which influences our ability to recruit more crew members. Okay, I think we're ready to go, so let's get things rolling. Dummies had his turn, so it's now down to us. And what I'm trying to do, I think, looking at my cards, I've got some movement. I've got a long range attack, which isn't going to help me. I'll show you what that means in a minute. And I've got some attack here, and I've got a couple of useful cards here that allow me to perhaps play with some data, get some data tokens or data crystals. Yeah, they might come in handy. You'll notice there's 3 different icons here. These symbols here, these denote special cards, and they're kind of supporting cards. They can support other actions. These symbols here, actually this one's got both of these, but these symbols here, these are to do with combat, and these symbols here, these kind of shooting stars, are to do with movement. So you can see this card's going to help you with combat and movement, which you can see. It's got an effect of move 2 and then a powerful effect of long range attack 3. What I'm interested in doing is generating some movement. I want to move from here up to this outpost next, to this Romulan warbird where I can take a position of attack. The core here reminds you of the movement points it takes to move through types of space. Alright, so for regular space it's 2 movement points. You can see to get over here then it's going to cost me 2, 4, 6. Yes, you can move through this spot. You can't move through these 3. Alright, but these 2 are open space. So I want 6 movement to get from the wormhole up to this outpost. So let's start playing some cards. I've got full speed ahead, which gives me move 2 or move 4. Let's play it for move 2. That's going to take me here. Okay, now I've got another full speed ahead, but this time I'm going to power it, and I'm going to power it with a data die from the core. You can only use 1 data die from the core each turn. I'm going to take this yellow one. And what you can see is with this yellow, I can power the more powerful effect to give me move 4. And that's going to allow me to move the extra 2 spots I need. So 2 for there, 2 for there. Finally then, I'm going to take an action. So on your turn, you can do move, action. You can't do move, action, move. You can't do action, move. It's always move and then action. You can move 0 spaces if you want, just take 1 action. But we've moved, now you can take an action. And my action is going to be to assault this Romulan warbird. To assault a space, you don't need to move there, you just need to be adjacent. So we're going to fire our attack on this warbird here. So let's have a look at his stats. So I've already told you this 3 down the bottom here is the experience that you'll get from defeating it. Over here, this is his attack. He's got an attack of 3. We'll need to generate 3 shields to block his attack. Okay, so we use shields. So we look back in my hand, I think I've got something. There you go. Battle stations can be used for attack or shields too. So this will give me 2 shields. This one gives me 2 shields. So I could defend against that attack. Finally up here, this number 5, is his defense. So to get through his defense, we need to generate at least 5 attack. Okay. There's an icon here too, this kind of green DNA type symbol. This represents the fact that this enemy has a special ability. He has biogenetic weapons. If this thing does damage to us, it's going to give us some damage cards. They're going to go in our hand. But with this biogenetic weapon, it also means for every damage we take, we also add a damage to our discard pile. Those damage cards are going to clog up our hands, clog up our deck. If you're familiar with Mage Knight, then you'll find that the sequence of attack here and defense is exactly the same. So the first phase is that we have the option to do long range attack. If we can take this guy out with a long range attack, then we don't have to suffer his attack. Now as it goes, we've only got one card that's going to give us long range attack. This one here, engage, long range attack 3. We can't power it, it needs red data. We don't have any red data in the core. We've already used our 1 data die, so there's nothing we can do there. Now I do have some support cards, so we'll talk about those in a minute. But long range attack 3 is not enough to kill him anyway, because he's got a defense of 5. We need a long range attack of 5, and there's nothing we can do to boost that. So instead we're going to have to skip through that phase, and now he attacks us. And he's going to attack us with his attack 3, so we'll need to generate those 3 shields if we can. Now I'm a little bit in trouble here. I can generate the 3 shields. This one here, Battle Stations, gives me shields 2. Or I could play these 2 together. That would give me shields 2 plus shields 2, that's shields 4. Remember, I need shields 3. The other thing you can do is you can play a card sideways, and you can use that either for 1 move, 1 shield, or 1 attack. You can't use it for long range attack. So I could play shields 2, 1 card sideways, and that gives me the shields 3 I need. But then I need 5 attack to kill him, so can I generate 5 attack from these cards? Well, I might be able to. This one gives me attack 2. I could play 2 sideways, that gives me attack 4. I'm 1 short, I need attack 5. This one here says I can use an additional data die from the core this turn. So I could take either the blue or the purple. So if I took the blue, I could charge this one, and that would give me a red, blue, or gold data crystal. That's its strong effect, which means I could pay this and power it up to 4. I'm still 1 short. But the purple die in the core there gives me potentially an option. So it may well be that I decide to not shield against his attack and take him out and take the damage. But it depends on this purple die, and this is the new thing that Frontiers adds that's a little bit of another choice for you. It's a bit of a risky choice, but sometimes it can come off and make a difference in how you play your turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is play this support card, Insight. You may use 1 additional data die from the core this turn. Okay, so I'll put that in my play area. And I'm going to take the purple die. I'm not going to take the blue one. I know that that's not going to help me. Now the purple die does 1 or 2 things. It offers this purple data resource. Purple represents risk and improvisation. And risk and improvisation data will charge some rarer cards that we'll see later in the game, perhaps. But the other thing you could do is you can take it, instead of using it for improvisation, you can re-roll it. And you can use that re-roll colour anytime during your turn. If you re-roll purple though, it goes back to the core and you can't use it, you lose it. So there's the risk. So there's a 1 in 6 chance that this thing won't be of any value to me. Now this is a very risky tactic, because I think the only thing that's going to help me is if I roll a red or a yellow. Possibly a blue. Let's see. Yeah, blue's not going to help me. Red or yellow is what I'm looking for. Red and gold is what I'm looking for. Excellent. Okay, I got a red. Will that help me? Let's see. I'm going to play... remember, he's got 3 attacks, so I'm going to have to do some shields first. So let's play Battle Stations for shields 2. I'm going to play this card sideways for shields 1. That gives me 3 shields. That's enough to block his attack. An attack of 3. Now I need 5. So this is 5 attack. So I'm going to use Engage, which gives me long range attack 3. That's 3 attack. I need 2 more attack. And I've got here Battle Stations, which gives me attack or shields 2, attack 2. Okay, so that's the attack 5 I needed. I've taken down this Romulan warbird. And this is going to give me 3 experience. But also, these kind of Romulan warbirds, they're out causing a nuisance of themselves across the galaxy. So every time you take one of these things out, you also gain 1 reputation. We'll just discard this. And we'll take on 1 reputation. We're moving up this positive track, and this gives us a bonus on diplomacy. Remember, we need diplomacy to recruit crew members. Alright, so if we do good stuff, we get good positive bonuses. If we do bad stuff, I'll tell you about those later, then we get a negative influence. So trying to recruit crew members is harder. We get our 3 experience, 1, 2, 3, and this is good. We've dropped down onto a next track, which means we've gone up a level, and that will happen at the end of this turn, which We're about to clear up and do that now, so you'll see how this affects our game. Okay, there's no more cards in our hand, there's nothing more for us to do. We re-roll these two, put them back in the core. We got blue and a red, that's good. We'll discard all this lot. That becomes our discard pile. Now we're going to take any rewards for the turn and any level ups. So if you revisit our experience track, what you can see is we've just moved down to a point when it shows a depiction of one of these cards here, this advanced action card. We take one of those, and then down below it, it's got a rectangular icon that represents a skill token. And we'll do that first. We'll always do that first. Now you draw two, and then choose one and discard the other. Now there's a handy reference card. Every player has their own distinct set of skill tokens, and this will tell you what they each do. So what we hear is inspiration. So this gives us either +3 diplomacy, or +2 during an away mission. I'll tell you about those later. This effect here is called compassion. Once per round, flip this to ready or heal one crew member. I quite like that as it goes. It can't be used during combat. The inspiration is good. The thing about the card and the Enterprise, diplomacy is one of their strong points, one of their strong facets. So this allows you to recruit better staff. And in fact, this +2 is pretty useful too. Actually, I think I'm going to take this one. Let's take this one. Let's take inspiration. Okay. Place it here in my player area. This one is discarded from the game. We can't now get this back. And now we take an action card. There are always 3 to choose from. Here they are in the Advanced Actions card offer. So just like the cards we saw in our basic command deck, the cards we've been using, but they're a little more powerful. So we have Seasoned Away Team, we can use for away missions. I'll show you those in a bit. Pulse Torpedo Attack 2, Attack 4. So these are, some enemies have resistances to basic pulse attacks, your basic weapons. These give you a Pulse Torpedo Attack, which means anyone who's resistant to regular torpedoes, well, quantum torpedoes will do the job. And then finally we have Honor, which gives you attack 2, or take 1 damage and increase it to 5. Honor's pretty good. Seasoned Away Team might be good. It might be a little too soon to take this one. Yeah, I don't have any units yet. I think we're going to take this Quantum Torpedoes, perhaps. Yeah, let's take this one. Now this one goes on top of your command deck, because what we're going to do now is we're going to draw back up. In fact, we'll refresh this offer, draw another card, fill its space, everything slides down, draw another one, flexibility. We're going to draw up to our hand limit of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and obviously the card that we've just earned is going to be in our hand for next time. That's it, we've ended our turn, and now it's back to Dummy. Dummy draws 3, remember? 1, 2, 3. It's a purple, we're not holding purple, just blue and yellow, so no more cards drawn for Dummy. Now it's back to my turn, and we're sitting here at an outpost, and this is where we recruit some crew. Now I've just realised there's something here that you need to be aware of when you're doing setup. Each of these crew members have a couple of icons here. This one has, Tom Lack has just one. These indicate the locations where they can be recruited. None of these have the icon for an outpost, and the rules tell us that during our setup you need to have at least one crew member here who can be obtained from an outpost. If you don't, just discard, redraw until you do. Okay, there we go. We've got 2 now with the outpost icons, and we'll just shuffle these units back in. Okay, so Donatra and the medical officer can both be recruited here. And they have this outpost icon, and they can be recruited for, this one's going to cost 3 diplomacy to recruit, this one's going to cost 6 diplomacy to recruit. And the medical officer looks good actually. Let's see. I can probably afford the time. I've got some movement here, I've got some diplomacy here, I've got this 1 attack card, so I'm not going to be going off and fighting anyone just yet. What does research powerful effect do? It says when you play this, play another action card with it and gain a stronger effect for free but with +2. So I could potentially get, well, this gives me diplomacy 5, so that could be diplomacy 7, which will be enough to get Denatra. The only problem with here is that we lose a reputation. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So why don't we need a blue mana to power this. But remember, we move, then take your action. So I might move first. So what I'm actually going to do is use Explore, move 2. Now with my move 2, I don't want to actually move anywhere. In fact, what I'm going to do is try and explore a new location. Now when I'm adjacent to an empty space like this, remember I can't explore this side or this side, then I can use 2 movement points to reveal a new tile. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to explore here an adjacent empty spot. So I'll reveal, it should be tile number 3 because I've got them stacked, remember. Remember to the orientation, so it has to match this number lined up with this number, this number, this number, same way. And then the circles and stars. So that's going to go in here. We've got a new feature here. Actually, I forgot to mention this one. There was one further down, which is a research station. If you end your turn here, you get one of these data crystals. So this will be a red data crystal. There's also a yellow research station down here. Yellow represents operations, red command, and blue is the science division. There's a couple more nebula spots here, which are, remember, 3 movement to get through. And then up here, we have a Romulan starbase. This time we're going to take an enemy token, it's a Romulan starbase, and we're going to place it face down. Okay, and once we move adjacent to this thing, we flip it and we can see what it is. I guess it's the equivalent of keep in Mage Knight. There's a potential here for moving 4. Not sure if that's going to help me. I think I'll hold on and stay here. I'm thinking maybe I could have moved in here, you see, and then progress from there, but I think what I'll do is I want to recruit. So let's play research, and we'll charge it with blue mana, which will allow me to play Intimidate for free with +2. So that's diplomacy 5, +2 is diplomacy 7. And with that diplomacy 7, I'm going to recruit, she only costs 6, Denatra. Okay, she has the outpost symbol here, I can recruit her here. Denatra then occupies this slot, this command token. Okay, she's a member of my crew now. Excellent. There's a couple more stats on here. This is her rank 2, and this is her defense 4. And then we've got a couple of abilities here. Attack, shields 3, and long range attack 2. And it was that long range attack that I was interested in. Alright, that's my turn done. I forgot, I explored. Every time you explore, you get 1 experience. So this gets clocked up 1. I'd really like to get it down to level 3 before the end of this round. Let's see what we can do. Right, let's end our turn here. These get discarded. We'll re-roll, place this in the core. We've got no upgrades to take. I've took 2 cards. I'm at 5, so I take 3 more. 3. And then Dummy takes his turn. So it's draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. This time it's a yellow. We have a yellow data crystal, so we draw 1 more. Okay. Of course, I should have been down here because Intimidate made me lose 1 spot. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 more experience to level up. This one here only gives me 3. I could explore 1 more and get the 4th. So if I can get, let's see, 3 movement here, 2 movement and explore, that's 5 movement, and have enough to attack him, that would give me the 4 experience I need.